A safe workplace, it doesn't just happen by accident. It's carefully built on a really crucial process, the risk assessment. So today, we're going to demystify that entire process and give you the essential tools you need to identify and control hazards like a pro.
We're going to break this down into 4 simple parts. First up, the fundamentals. Then we'll get into the why, the real reasons we do this. After that, the practical stuff, how to actually spot hazards. And we'll wrap up by looking at what a great risk assessment really looks like.
All right, first things first. Before we can even think about managing risk, we all need to be speaking the same language. This part is all about locking in those core concepts.
Okay, this is probably the most important distinction in all of safety, and honestly, it's where a lot of people get tangled up. A hazard is just something with the potential to cause harm. See that trailing cable? It's just sitting there. It's passive. The risk, on the other hand, is the active part. It's the likelihood that someone's going to interact with that hazard and get hurt, and how bad is it going to be? So, the cable is the hazard. The risk is the trip and the potential broken wrist. Makes sense, right?
So how do we go from just having a gut feeling that something is dangerous to actually measuring it? Well, we use this simple but powerful formula. Risk equals likelihood times severity. This is how we quantify it. It forces us to ask 2 really important questions. 1, how likely is it that someone will get hurt? And 2, if they do, how bad will it be? Answering those questions helps us prioritize what to fix first, focusing our energy on the biggest danger.
So now that we've got a handle on what risk is, let's talk about why we even bother assessing it. And trust me, this isn't just about ticking boxes. It's absolutely fundamental to a healthy organization, and it's driven by 3 big things. It really all comes down to these 3 pillars. You've got the moral pillar, the basic human duty of care to make sure your people go home in one piece. Then there's the legal pillar. The law actually requires employers to manage these risks. And finally, the financial pillar. Let's be honest, accidents are expensive. Good risk management is just good business. And that financial cost? Oh, it's not some abstract idea. Look at this number, £274,000. That was a real fine handed to a real company because they failed to manage the risks from their machinery. It's a pretty stark reminder that whatever you invest in prevention is just a fraction of what an incident could cost.
Okay, we've nailed down the what and the why. Now it's time to get our hands dirty with the how. How do you actually go out there, in the real world, and start identifying these hazards?
A fantastic place to start is this classic 5-step process. First, spot the hazards. Second, figure out who could get hurt. Third, evaluate the risk and decide what to do. Fourth, put those controls in place and write it all down. And fifth, and this is so important, you have to review it. This whole thing is a loop, a cycle. It's not a one-and-done job.
Now that all sounds great on a slide, doesn't it? But what does step 1, identify hazards, actually look like when you're on the shop floor? How do you train your eyes to see the dangers that might not be so obvious? Well, there are a few proven methods. You've got to get out there and walk around, for starters. Looking through your past accident reports can show you patterns you might have missed. Manufacturers' instructions are a goldmine for highlighting specific hazards. But you know what? Maybe the most powerful tool you have is talking to your workers. The people doing the job day in, day out, they know where the real risks are.
Okay, so you've done the hard work, you've found the hazards, now what? This final section is all about turning that knowledge into action. Because let's face it, a risk assessment that just sits in a filing cabinet is completely useless. The goal here is protection, not paperwork.
In legal terms, a risk assessment has to be suitable and sufficient. And what that really means is that it has to be more than just a list of problems. It has to be the spark that leads to real, tangible changes, actual controls that make people safer. If your assessment doesn't lead to change, it's failed. Simple as that.
So how do you pick the right control measures? You don't just guess. There's a brilliant, systematic approach for this. It's called the hierarchy of controls, and it is the gold standard for making smart, effective safety decisions.
The hierarchy is ranked from most effective down to least effective, and you have to always start at the top. The number 1 most powerful thing you can do is just eliminate the hazard. Get rid of it completely. If you can't do that, you move down the ladder. Can you substitute it for something safer? No? Then you look at engineering controls, like putting a guard on a machine. After that, you've got administrative controls, like changing procedures. And right at the very bottom, the absolute last resort is PPE. It is a last line of defense, never, ever your first choice.
When you boil it all down, this quote from the Canadian Centre for Occupational Health and Safety just says it all, doesn't it? The whole point of this exercise is to find the danger, figure out how bad it is, and then either get rid of it or shrink its risk down to as low as you possibly can. That's how you create a genuinely safer and healthier workplace.
So there you have it. We've gone through the what, the why, and the how of risk assessment. You now have the complete framework from spotting a hazard all the way through to controlling it effectively. So the only question left is, what are you going to do with it? What's the very first hazard in your workplace that you're going to go look at with fresh eyes?